Today is one of the days that United experienced some good news and some bad news. But let's start it off with the bad news because the website of United has gone ahead to put out an article confirming to us that Lisandro Martinez and Reguilon are out injured. For Lisandro Martinez, it's really worrying for months, and Reguilon might find himself not play for at least Saturday and maybe in the midweek as we host Galatasaray. He'll be up for selection as United takes on the side of Galatasaray in the midweek. Now, welcome to the Unit Matters channel. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? Erik Ten Hag has gone ahead to react to the injuries and the injury situation at Manchester United. Then he also went ahead and we talked about Jadon Sancho, and he obviously put a final nail to the coffin on those that really ask those questions. So we thank God for the gift of life, and Allah for the gift of life to you. So let's start it off with the statement that Man United put up on their website concerning the Lisandro Martinez situation. They said Lisandro Martinez will be out of action for an extended period due to an aggravation of the foot injury he suffered in April. The Argentinian defender experienced a setback in a Premier League game against Arsenal earlier this month. Martinez bravely continued playing for the following two games against Brighton and Bayern Munich. But it has not been determined that he has a period on the sidelines for recovery and rehabilitation. Assessment is ongoing to decide next steps. Everyone at Manchester United sends Lisandro Martinez our best wishes and looks forward to him coming back as soon as possible. Now, for Lisandro Martinez, it's really worrying because if Luke Shaw was around, then it would have gone ahead to work out well for the club of Manchester United. But we are now left with Evans, Harry Maguire, Rafael Varane, and Victor Lindelof. That is it. I think the good doing of this is that we are having Sofiane Amrabat into this team, that he can obviously come in through and obviously put in a very good blocking shift, right? And put in a very good blocking shift for this side of Manchester United, especially in the midfield. If at all his double pivot is played with Casemiro, that means everything is obviously going to be great, and that defense is obviously going to be watertight. Even if you're playing teams like Man City, Liverpool, name it, when you're having Sofiane Amrabat and Casemiro in that midfield, you are 100% sure that there is a shield in front of your central defense that it won't be exposed. Now, we just have to play Rafael Varane reservingly. That is the most important bit of it, to try to balance up, because Harry Maguire is not injury prone, but he's not that kind of defender that you obviously think of every time you're really having problems into your central defense. Evans, for me, I prefer him ahead of Harry Maguire, and we might see him play part in tomorrow's game, as Erik Ten Hag might obviously try to bring him on to play some huge part into that central defense, because it's going to have to show us that he's really good at doing his job and obviously doing the needful, especially when it comes to those dead ball situations. He has shown us that in every corner he can obviously try to put in a shift that can deliver a goal to the club of Manchester United. So for Lisandro Martinez, it's really shocking that he's really gonna be out for some long period of time. And Simon Stone has gone ahead and obviously revealed to us the period he thinks Lisandro Martinez is going to be out for. Now, we are being told that Lisandro Martinez out for an extended period with a foot injury, probably looking at around 2 to 3 months. If today is 29th, you count October, November, and his return is slated to happen in December. That is Lisandro Martinez for you. So it shows you exactly how United is covered into total shit as far as this beautiful game of football is concerned, because you wouldn't like to miss out on your best signings, right? You wouldn't like to miss them out, especially on a player like him who obviously puts in a shift game in, game out, because you 100% know that if at all you're having Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane in such fixtures, then you are 100% safe. But God has gone ahead to help us that Casemiro and Sofiane Amrabat are here. Kobe Menu is returning, Amad Diallo is returning, and lots of things are really happening in the good vibe of Manchester United. So we obviously hope for a better United and see how we are going to perform, because more players are returning from injury, and more injuries obviously going ahead to increase at the club of Manchester United. Then the website also added and said Reguilon will also be absent from this Saturday's Premier League game against Crystal Palace with a minor injury. It's our second meeting with the Eagles this week after Tuesday's 3-0 Carabao Cup third victory, meaning that even the player that has gone ahead to thrive and hit the ground running in his position, that is Reguilon, is out of this fixture of Manchester United as we take on that side of what's the name? Forgotten the name. That side of Crystal Palace again. And it's always nice to have a person like him obviously being ready to take on the necessary job at the club of Manchester United. So as we're having very many players returning back from injury, 2 more have entered, all been added onto the injury list, meaning that we're now having Amad Diallo, we are having Tyrell Malacia, Luke Shaw, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Reguilon, and Lisandro Martinez. Those are 6 injuries that you're really having. But you ask yourself, how is Erik ten Hag going to play with a left back? I wouldn't fancy to see Erik ten Hag play Sofiane Amrabat as an inverted left back like he did on Wednesday. I wouldn't like to see that happen because this time round the Ebelechi Ezes are going to be playing part into that game. Now, I would have loved to see Victor Lindelof played on the left back of Manchester United as he came on through and played some 45 minutes, and I think the manager just wanted to try it out and see whether it can work out. Keep Dell onto the right back, then Evans and Rafael Varane playing in the central defense. Then we get what's the name of this guy? Then we get Casemiro, Sofiane Amrabat in the double pivot, Bruno Fernandes ahead of them, Mason Mount playing as a right attacking midfielder, Rashford left attacking midfielder, and Rasmus Højlund leading the line for the club of Manchester United. That would have been the lineup I'm going to fancy to take on the side of Crystal Palace. But even if he goes in with Sofiane Amrabat to play on the left, I think it might work out well for the club of Manchester United, but will the tactics work? Because it will almost be the same team as it played against Crystal Palace in the midweek, with Mason Mount and Casemiro playing the double pivot, then Bruno Fernandes, central attack midfielder, Facundo Pellistri, right attack midfielder, and the rest remains constant. So that is what we are waiting to see how Ten Hag is going to line up tomorrow, and at exactly 4 we'll be here live tomorrow revealing to you what the manager is gonna do for this fixture all time. Now, today Ten Hag is going to hold a press conference about Manchester United, and he has gone ahead and told us about the injuries happening at the club of Manchester United, and these were his own words. Many of my colleagues have pointed this out, and I have too, but it continues. We continue to expand the schedule. It does not stop. The players can no longer cope with this load, and I think that's what we are seeing in the team at the moment. He added on that there was a World Cup in the middle of the season, a longer season, a shorter break. Each time the calendar gets longer, the load on the players is too great. That is what Ten Hag really had to say, and has a point. You know, these players are not robots. It's one of those sayings that Erik ten Hag has been so much using in the previous past, that you cannot obviously use players like we are using them and not expect them not to get an injury. That World Cup break, those extra 7-6 games that these players played really affected them, and not resting enough, because before the World Cup, for the last 2 months that led to the World Cup, these players were playing 2 games per week, and it looks like the same narrative is really happening and going on to obviously show up on the same time. So to me, it's really one of those days that you don't really want to really see this happen to your club. But to me, the beauty of this is we are having some young talents like Hannibal, Kobe Menu, Danny Go, Hamadi Diallo, Facundo Pellistri that can come in through and obviously put in a shift. My biggest undoing is, why aren't we having a left back coming in from the academy or a full back? And why aren't we having a central defender from the academy to come in through and obviously utilize this chance? I know there are some players in the academy that can come in through and utilize this chance and obviously show Erik ten Hag what they are made of. So the injuries are really accumulating at Manchester United. But as you know, games of football are won and lost in the midfield. You saw to it that when Man City was really having a strong midfield, they even used to shift Rodri to play into the central defense, sometimes Fabinho. You know, if you're having a strong central midfield, you won't be afraid of injuries in the central defense and the fullback, because you know that you are going to be controlling the game and it's going to be hard for you to be broken down by any team, because you'll be putting up the best of the show into that area. So from my understanding, I really believe that we are good to go. The good thing is that more players are returning from injury, and we are getting set for the next level of games. And the next set of games are not all that really difficult for us to go through. And I just want to believe that by the time we play Man City after the international break, we will have some players really back into that team of Manchester United. The most important bit of it was having Sergio Reguilon back and Tyrell Malacia, because if at all we have them back, then we'll be 100% sure that our fullbacks are really settled and we are really ready to go. Meaning that the 4 central defenders we are going to be having are obviously going to be utilized in central defense only. Not seeing Victor Lindelof shifted to the left back, Sofiane Amrabat shifted to the left back. We'll only see them play in the central defense. Rafael Varane, John Evans, Victor Lindelof, and Harry Maguire. That's the news that you always want to have at this side of a team of Manchester United. Not so. So for me, I'm not worried, but all I know is that everything happens for purpose, and the squad needs to be really bloated to see to it that we get the best of results that we deserve as a club of Manchester United. Now, Ten Hag was asked the question about Jadon Sancho, and this was his reply. Many of you ask me this so often, these questions, and I have said everything. I said everything. Now, I know the English media. Do you remember that Harry Maguire was one of those regular questions being posed to Erik ten Hag during his interviews or press conferences, because he was not getting enough playing time? Now, that he played during the midweek and he has been injured, that's why he has not got to surface into the questions of Erik ten Hag. Now, if he misses out on Saturday, then it's obviously going to be hard for him to obviously miss out onto what we call the questions coming in from the media. And it's the same thing being protracted to Jadon Sancho as his so-called behaviors are really concerned. They're almost sounding green about what's happening about Jadon Sancho. The manager's always going to have to let them know that not until he apologizes, that's when he's going to come back to the club Man United. In his words, he said, it's up to Jadon Sancho. That is it. So, Ten Hag is going to have to set high standards at the club of Manchester United, and even a player who is 23 years of age, who earns £350,000 a week, with that immense talent, Ten Hag is going to have to throw him under the bus because of the way he really behaves at the club of Manchester United. And this is what you always want to see your manager do to players like him, who obviously don't respect what the manager really feels like should be the right way and the right direction for the club of Manchester United. So that is it coming in from Erik ten Hag as far as Sancho is concerned. Now, your reactions to Lisandro Martinez out for 3 months are welcome in the comment section below. Sergio Reguilon out of the game of Crystal Palace, what do you make about it? And Ten Hag reiterating on the Jadon Sancho situation. Rock and David remains my name. I sign out for now. See you later. And Jesus Christ, thank you for what you're doing for us. The Lord God that created us, it's always great. And the Muslims, Barak Lau Fikum. I'm out.